Pure College Radio, baby. We're back here on the GioMoShow. Giovanni Mosheri here in studio. And we got your Oakland NCAA sports update coming right up. We're going to start with women's soccer. Their most recent game was a single one against Northern Kentucky Thursday the 21st. We were supposed to call that on WXOU. However, staffing issues halted the broadcast. However, let me give you the highlights here. So, it was 0-0 after the first half. It was a lot of kind of back and forth. There was a little bit of a lethargic feeling to the game, and that's just not my words. That's Coach Juan Pablo Ferrero's thoughts as well. But once the second half got started here, that's where the action started to pick up a little bit. In the 70th minute, Northern Kentucky's Erika Cornett scored a goal assisted by Shea Shipley to give the Nors the lead 1-0 at the 70th minute. And at that point, Oakland was definitely in a rush to get a goal themselves, to either save themselves with a tie or to get another one on top of it to win the game. But what Oakland got was a very exciting, very surprise shot by Frankie Mudd, assisted by the keeper, Julia Zangirl, as Frankie just kind of took it off the dribble. At the 87th minute, about 3 minutes left to go in the game against Northern Kentucky at home. It was a beautiful day. You guys, if you look at my Instagram at Mosheri_Giovanni, then you see that we kind of changed up the schedule with the GioMoShow a little bit. That's where we pre-recorded it last week, and this game was why it was a beautiful day. And at the Oakland soccer field, we had to get going. Frankie Mudd, 87th minute. Shoots it from beyond the 18, from darn near midfield, finds the keeper out of position just a little bit too forward, and launches that thing up and above over the keeper's head to tie the game 1-1. And thus the Golden Grizzlies headline reads, Frankie Mudd's late-game heroics guides Oakland to a 1-1 draw against NKU. And that's exactly what happened. This was also featured on SportsCenter. Was the, I believe, number 8 of the week. So be sure to check out Oakland Women's Soccer's Instagram and Twitter for that highlight, just to show hey, we got some national coverage with that sweet goal from Frankie Mudd. And I was able to talk to head coach Juan Pablo Ferrero on GrizzVision. I got a little bit of that official on me. I was talking to Coach Ferrero on GrizzVision and asked him about what he told the team after the first half. He thought that they needed a little bit more energy. He asked them to give a little bit more, and they seemed to be a little bit lethargic, as I mentioned earlier. And after halftime, they brought it. They got that energy. They picked it up a little bit. I asked him about Frankie Mudd's goal. I said, Coach, did you expect her to even shoot that? Did you expect that to happen? And he kind of smiled and kind of went back and forth, and what he told me was Frankie can shoot it from anywhere, and it's kind of something that they would like to. I mean, obviously, you would want to kind of keep secret in the horizon, keep that in the down low that Frankie Mudd can really score from anywhere. But he, was he shocked that it went in? Only a little bit was the vibe I got from Coach Ferrero. So after that game against Northern Kentucky, after a draw 1-1, Golden Grizzlies are 3-4-4 overall and 1-0-2 in conference. Their next game is going to be an away trip this Saturday against Wright State at 1 o'clock, and then they return home on October 5th at 5:30. Also, Thursday at 5:30 against the Robert Morris Colonials. I might have to move the GioMoShow again to accommodate that game. Hopefully the weather was as nice as the Northern Kentucky game. But that's all she wrote for women's soccer. Let's go down to men's soccer. So their latest couple games was a conference one at IUPUI. That was one that was exciting. Oakland got the lead early in the game with Mikey Ketterman scoring in the first 7 minutes off an assist from Vile Ahola. Oakland goes up 1-0 in the first half. But IUPUI, they didn't give up. The Jaguars were tough. That was the first game that me and Harjit Buttar, we called last year for, that was the first game we ever tried broadcasting on WXOU. It didn't work, obviously, but it was against IUPUI at the Oakland soccer field on senior night, and IUPUI is a good team. And they proved that again in their house, beating the Grizzlies 2-1. And thus the headline reads, Oakland drops tough road decision to IUPUI. But shout out to Mikey Kenneman for that awesome goal in the first 7 minutes. But you gotta give your flowers, gotta give a shout out to IUPUI for coming back and getting the win against the Golden Grizzlies. Their latest game was one against Michigan State themselves. Let me make sure what day that was. That was earlier this week, a matter of just a couple days ago. But let me make sure. So that was Tuesday, the 26th. The Golden Grizzlies went to East Lansing to take on the Spartans, a team that I've been told is nationally ranked, a team that I'm told should have beaten the Golden Grizzlies. However, final score was a 2-2 draw. Golden Grizzlies kept it up with the Spartans. And we had some fantastic numbers to look at. I was looking at the live stats as the game was going on. And, I wasn't able to stream on the Big Ten Network, of course. But kept up with the stats, and I noticed that Michigan State had 18 shots in the game and 10 shots on goal. Now, what does that translate to? That translates to keeper Michael Sly Jr. having 8 saves in that game. Did allow 2, obviously, thus the score. But the Oakland offense, that's what kept it up. There was a goal from Owen Smith. There was a goal from Andrew Dejargian. I'm going to have to work on that name. Assist from Donovan Phillip, from Mohamed Hamoud. Again, I'm going to have to work on these names. But, just looking at the stats, it was an exciting game. Michigan State had 10 corner kicks, but, Oakland was able to keep up with a nationally ranked team for a 2-2 draw on the road. So, obviously, it's a draw. It's not something that you're not going to go too crazy about it, but, man, That's a great game. That's a great game to play against the Big Ten. As for upcoming games, let's get to the season standings right now. As of right now, the Golden Grizzlies are 2-5-1 overall with a 1-2 record in conference. Their next game is going to be here at home this Saturday, 1 o'clock. They face the Milwaukee Panthers. And like I mentioned at the top of the show, you can listen to it on WXOU Live. We're going to have John Kloss play-by-play. We're going to have Harsh Buttar on color against the Panthers. And in a game that we could see the Golden Grizzlies make it back to 500 in the Horizon League and start to make that Horizon League push. So be sure to tune in Saturday at 1 o'clock on WXOU for your live sports. And to wrap up the Oakland sports, we had a very exciting weekend from the volleyball team. You heard both these games on WXOU. Youngstown State was Friday, the 22nd. This game, it was a tough one back and forth. It was me and Jacob Board. We were calling the game, and it was we'll give you the score. It was a 1-3 loss for the Golden Grizzlies. The Penguins were bringing it. Penguins were definitely bringing it that game. First set was 25-20. That was in favor of Youngstown State. They did it again in the second set, 25-20. Then Oakland kind of started to get the momentum back. In a situation they're down 2-0, they're going to have to make it all the way to set 5 to win the match against the Penguins. And they flipped the switch. 25-19 for the Golden Grizzlies in set 3. And then the fourth set was the one that ended the game. That was the one that Youngstown State got us 25-21. But Golden Grizzlies, they were trying to keep up with it. They made a great effort, but where some of the issues arose was some of the momentum stopping errors. Oakland didn't have a lead in very much of any of these sets except for the third one, but it was once Oakland got the ball back, I noticed that there would be something to kill the momentum, a self-inflicted wound, if you will. And that was something that going into the next game against Robert Morris, which is the following day, Saturday the 23rd, that was something that we knew the Golden Grizzlies were going to have to clean up. And clean up they did. Oakland, flipping the script from yesterday's game against Robert Morris, led the entire time, basically. Set 1 was 25-19, Oakland. 25-18, Oakland. 25-15, Oakland. Clean sweep of the Colonials in the arena on National Volleyball Day, no less. I didn't know that going into the broadcast with Joey Hayes on WXOU, but it was National Volleyball Day, and the Golden Grizzlies get a sweep. Afterwards, they were signing they had a lot of youth volleyball there. They were signing posters. They were, doing autographs and talking to the kids and being that inspiration, being those role models in the world of volleyball on volleyball's dedicated day. So it was a great game to call. Let's go through a little bit of some of the stats here. So Ainsley Goosey had 10 kills. Annika Prisby had 10 as well. Cesarini with 9 kills. That was something I noticed with the Golden Grizzlies. It was a spread out offensive effort. Compared to when you look at what Robert Morris had, they had all their kills concentrated within a couple of players. And I kind of picked up on that during the game, was that Oakland knew that the kills were only going to come from a couple of people. And they put up, everybody in that corner. There was a time where I can't remember which set it was, but it was like, I believe Annika Prisby was involved in it along with one of her teammates, and it was just jump up at the net, 1 block, 2 block, 3 in a row before Oakland eventually got the point. And it was like, man, Oakland's got this one. Oakland figured it out. Oakland's got this in the bag. Ainsley Goosey, who I mentioned before, became the 5th player in Oakland volleyball history to hit over 70% in a single match. 10 kills, like I mentioned, tied for first amongst the Grizzlies, along with 5 blocks as well. Goosey was everywhere, man. Wild goose chase against the Robert Morris Colonials. I had to say something about it. Come on. So overall, it was just a great game to call with Mr. Hayes, Mr. Joey Hayes. Expect to hear more of him on WXOU Live Sports. But as of now, hold on, I missed a road match against IUPUI. Let me get the stats for you as they played IUPUI at the Jungle this past Tuesday. Let me give you a quick update on that. I missed that in my notes. Yeah, Oakland, they took the Jaguars all the way to set 5, winning it 3-2 on the road in IUPUI's house. Let me give you the scores. Set 1 belonged to the Jaguars, 25-16. Oakland flipped the script, 25-18. Oakland win. Now we're at 1-1 in sets. Set 3, back at IUPUI, 25-19. Set 4, back to Oakland, 25-17. It's like the team just kept going back and forth. The same score. They would win by more than 5. The other team wouldn't catch 20. And then set 5, up to 15. Oakland, they got it 15-13 to close it out against the Jaguars. Looking at some of the team leaders, Gentry Brown had a phenomenal game, 13 kills in that game. And that's something I even noticed against Robert Morris, was that Gentry Brown brings the heat, man. When she goes up for an attack, it is coming down quick. And that's definitely something that Gentry Brown flexed on the Jaguars all the way in 5 sets with 13 kills. Patty Cesarini had 7, and Ella Martin with 7 as well. Ainsley Goosey, picking up for where she left off against Robert Morris, had 7 blocks again. Libby Gentile with 6, Annika Prisby with 4. And just a great game. I wish I had more notes on it against IUPUI, but that is going to bring the current record of the Golden Grizzlies to 9-7 overall and 3-1 in conference, baby. That is how business is done at Oakland University. Well done to the Oakland volleyball team. Be sure to follow all your D1 team. Be sure to follow all of your NCAA D1. Now that I'm talking about club sports, I gotta kind of specify it a little bit. But be sure to follow all of them on their Instagram and Twitter pages for all news and highlights and scores and stats and everything that you're going to need about your Golden Grizzlies. And that right there is going to wrap up our Oakland sports update. Coming up next, we're going to hear about our Detroit Lions. We finally get into the NFL. We get some of that game day going. First, we got to talk about the game against the Falcons. We're going to take a breeze through Week 3 of the NFL, which was wild. This Week 3, even just if you isolate the Sunday 1 o'clock spot, things were bananas in the NFL at Week 3. So we're going to talk about that. And then later on in the show, stick around. We're going to give you my thoughts, my predictions, what I'm feeling for tonight's game of the Lions at Green Bay on Thursday Night Football. Remember, Fox 2. Don't go to Amazon Prime. That's going to be at 8:15. So we're going to get into all of that. But first, another message from WXOU. Fridays at 8. Listen to Friday Night Groove right here on WXOU. Hosted by DJ RBJ since 2011, Friday Night Groove is your home for some of the best soul, jazz, electronic, indie, and alternative music here at the station. He also has interviews with artists and one of the best radio voices in the game. You could go to his website, FridayNightGroove.com, and follow at Trill Gunderson. On Instagram, that would be TRIL Gunderson. You can follow him on Instagram to get the latest on the show. Listen to Friday Night Grooves, Fridays at 8 p.m. on WXOU. We'll be right back here on The GioMo Show.